In all my years of watching anime, no show or film has resonated with me as deeply as 5 centimeters per second. Released in 2007, written and directed by Makoto Shinkai, you may recognize his works under Comics Wave films, those being Garden of Words, Your Name, and Rendering with You, are some of the most beloved animated films in the industry, mainly due to the fact that these movies have such amazing animation and beautiful stories that pretty much anyone, no matter what stage in your life you're in, can pretty much enjoy. And 5 centimeters per second being one of these movies that I want to talk about because it is my favorite among his films. This film being able to masterfully capture the complexities and the uniqueness of the human emotion, relationships, and the passage of time, while also following up with the best visuals I've seen in anime that came out around this time, film or not, is one of the biggest reasons why I would recommend you watch a film like this. So without any further ado, let me tell you why you should watch the most relatable anime of all time. At its core, 5 centimeters per second explores universal themes of love, longing, and separation. It's not just a simple love story though, it's a more strong representation or reflection of how distance, both physical and emotional, can shape our connections. The movie shows us this by separating itself into 3 interconnected chapters that depicts the lives of 3 characters, Tsuno Takagi being one of them. And the reason why I point out Takagi is because the story mainly surrounds his life as he navigates growing up and growing apart for the one he cares about the most. His childhood best friend, Shinohara Akari, who for reasons outside of either of their control, were separated during their childhood. Unfortunately, this yearning and wanting for someone who is far out of reach is stunting his chances of building fruitful relationships with people around him and is stunting his happiness in his life. And a story concept like this will probably deeply resonate with anyone who has experienced something like this in their life. You know, the bittersweet pain that comes from yearning for someone or something unfortunately just out of your reach. And the story is not only told amazingly narratively, but also visually. Comics Wave films are renowned for having the best when it comes to attention to detail, and this film is no exception. The animation is stunning, with every frame crafted like a painting that belongs in the 16th chapel. Like when I see the cherry blossoms fall throughout the city in the opening sequence of the film, or halfway through the film when the ship takes off into space, or when I see Kanai surfing in the glistening waves, it really shows me just how much effort and love was put into this film to make it what I'll call peak. And speaking of peak, let's talk about this film's OST. Tenman, the person who composed this film's soundtrack, who you may recognize his works from Link Click Season 1 and 2, and in this film, Tenman manages to enhance the emotional impact and weight that the story already has, and it just takes it to a whole nother level. My personal favorite songs from this OST being Cherry Blossom Extract, Kiss, and One More Time, One More Chance, which is a song I want to harp on a bit more because number one, it is my favorite among the 3 I listed, but also because it matches perfectly with what Shinkai's overall message is with this film. This song, written and performed by Masayoshi Yamazaki, is a song about a man who is struggling to move on with the person that they cared for most deeply. The lyrics are filled with regret, hope, longing, and all sorts of things that I pretty much talked about when it came to this film. And the biggest takeaway from this song, and definitely this film that I have yet to mention, is the ideal of acceptance and moving on, and understanding that at the end of the day, the person who you longed and cared for is not in your life anymore. And no matter how long you search and wish they were there, they simply just can't. And that's just how it is. Not to say that you can't find a person in your life at a young age and fall in love with them, you two grow up together, get happily married, and live the rest of your lives into your graves or whatever. That's not what I'm trying to say, but more often than not, you're going to find people in your life, whether it be a romantic interest, friends, family, or what have you, that even if you don't notice it, you will eventually drift apart from them. And that's just how it is. People have different ambitions, goals in their lives, or just different circumstances will cause them to drift away from you, and you can't do anything about it. At that point, it is then up to you to decide whether or not you will let this affect you mentally or take acceptance and move on. Not to say that moving on means that they are forever eliminated from your life and that you can't even think about them, you're not allowed to. No, you can forever hold anyone in your memory. It's good to do that. But don't let that person's memory hinder you from being happy in your life or finding new relationships and people that you can add into your life. Once I understood the message of this film, I was mentally destroyed. I was so used to watching normal, regular shonen and romance anime dramas that kind of were just the most stereotypical of their category, pretty much. And when I saw this, 13-year-old me was destroyed. It broke me for a while, and I even think about this film till this day, which is why I'm making this video right now. And that just goes to show how much effort Makoto Shinkai puts into his films. He's able to have you step back and think and reflect on your life in such a way that it leaves a deep impact on you. And I, again, strongly recommend you watch this film. And another thing I want to mention about this film is the lack of conversation around this film. I feel like with how unique this film is, I mean, obviously it was made by one of the goats of anime films, that not many people want to talk about it. I don't understand why. Maybe it's because of the age. I mean, this film is like 18, 17 so years old. But then again, films like Princess Mononoke and Perfect Blue stand the test of time. People talk about these films all the time. I don't know. I'm kind of confused on this aspect of its relevance. Maybe I'm missing something. You can point that out in the comments as to why this film isn't as popular as Shinkai's other works. But hey, if my opinion on this film isn't enough to convince you, then don't just take my word for it. Look up the comments for any of the songs that I've listed here. It's a lot of people can deeply relate to this film, and it's for a good reason. I highly recommend you watch it. It's amazing. That's pretty much all I have for you today. Let me know what you guys think about the film. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you guys think about it? Did it mentally destroy you for a while like it did for me? And also, what other Makoto Shinkai's works do you like? I personally like this more than his other works. Maybe he's a bit of bias since it was the first one of his films that I watched. Let me know how you guys think in the comments, and I'll get to you guys in the next video. Bye! Oh, and I forgot to mention, Kanai deserved better. Okay, bye!